So yeah, okay. So today we'll be talking about some of the important industry trends. Okay, and we'll talk about the technology, how technology is shifting. Okay, we'll talk about from the BA perspective, how focus is now on product. Okay, less on project. Okay, and then how agile and lean methodology is impacting the way BA is working. And of course, in these scenarios, how the BA role is evolving. Okay, so let's go. If we talk about technology trends, okay, so these are the sort of terms that you will hear very often. So you'll hear DevOps, right? So, see, we'll take a step back. Okay, so BA, we discussed about different steps, right? And we discussed that all these steps are in sequence. Okay, it happened one after another. But practically speaking, okay, and this was the old style of doing BA activities or doing a project, that you start from a level and you complete that level and then you move to the next level. Okay, since most of the concept that we have borrowed is from the construction industry. Okay, when you're trying to build a bridge, okay, or road or metro, things like that, you can't go back, right? You can't say, okay, let me make 10 feet wide and later you go back and make it 12 feet wide. You can't do that, right? So it is important in such scenarios that you plan it well and you finish it. Let's say you are done with BA, then you go to development. You're done with development, go to testing. Okay, but IT industry as such, okay, you can always go back and change the code, isn't it? It doesn't. Yeah, of course, it is not something that we prefer, not something that we want to, but still, that's the advantage we have. And because of which, okay, and also this industry is more dynamic. Things keep changing very fast. So, if you're planning to build a bridge, that it's going to take a couple of years, 3 years, and you plan such a way that the bridge can withstand 100 years of life, and it can probably be in use for 100 years, things like that. But in terms of IT, it is very difficult to predict even for a year, right? And you say today you decide something, and then let's say you start building, and next month things might change, right? So the style of working which was there or which was borrowed from construction industry did not work very well. Okay, and that's when the agile and lean thing came into picture. So see, we discussed about three type of people. The business analyst itself, they get the requirements. Then the project team, the development team and testing team, they will convert your requirements into the working project. And finally, the third team is the operations team. They actually will implement on the customer side. So you as a BA, you would take a couple of months to get the requirement. Then development team will take 6 months to to develop it, and the deployment team will take about a month to deploy. So these teams, three teams, they used to work in sequence, passing information or passing content once you are done to the next team, and next team when they're done to the third team, so on. Okay, but because of scenarios which I said, that IT industry is more dynamic, it's very difficult to predict what will happen after 6 months, right? So people felt that, okay, instead of having a sequential approach, it's better that we have a spiral approach. Okay, so instead of focusing on a couple of months of work as a BA, said, okay, why do you work for a couple of months to get the requirements? Because things can get changed. So instead, focus on a couple of weeks or 1 week of getting the requirement. Okay, and we will deliver it in 2 months or 3 months. Now, if you say the total time frame is more or less same, total time frame is more or less same. The difference is that instead of focusing on getting 20 requirements, you're focusing on getting only 5 requirements. Okay, and when you come back and you take the next 5, things can get changed and you will be able to incorporate it. So the agile talks about technical team and the business analyst team and technical team working together. Okay. Now, because of the crowd and situation where we're seeing that, okay, if you have already, developed, why not implement it? So DevOps talks about continuous deployment, continuous implementation. Okay, DevOps talks about continuous deployment, that, okay, you deploy at the client side immediately when you have it ready. Okay, so if you have developed it, if you have it, why not give it to the client so that they are able to, start using it? So now in the way the cloud works is, let's say you're using Gmail, and if Google has to make some changes to the Gmail, they can immediately push. There is no software to be installed, right? And suddenly you'll find that, your the inbox color has changed, buttons have changed, some new button has started appearing, maybe some bold button has disappeared, things like that. So in terms of cloud, okay, it is important, okay, that deployment is also done immediately and without any disruption. So that's what DevOps talks about it. Okay, so business analyst, okay, then got into talking about the lean and the agile. Okay, now we start talking about DevOps. Okay, and DevOps is actually one of the important concept. Now, what people say is Amazon, not just in India, okay, across the world, they have multiple marketplace, right? So their team, they deploy something every 2 seconds. Okay, every 2 seconds they deploy. With some of the other changes, they keep doing it to the live environment. So that's the power of DevOps. Okay, you can deploy continuous deployment. Okay, see, DevOps is made of 2 words: development, and operations, ops. Okay, the development team and the operations team. Okay, and of course, development team here also involves BA. So BA and the ops team, they work together to deliver the solution which is ready to the customer. Okay, then you talk about IoT. You know what is IoT?
No.
Okay, so IoT stands for Internet of Things. Okay, basically it connects different products, okay, to each other using internet. Okay, so for example, if you talk about your AC remote, right? So earlier, you had an AC remote and you could talk to your AC through the remote, right? So that is embedded systems. Okay, that is made of embedded systems. But now you can have an app, and you can control your AC through app, right? So app is like a remote which is connected to internet, and your AC is also connected to internet, isn't it? So your remote and AC, they don't talk like using infrared signals, right? Which used to happen earlier. Now they talk through internet, right? Advantage is, of course, you can control it from your office. Let's say you switched on and you forgot about it, so you can connect through internet and you can control your AC, isn't it? So that's called Internet of Things. Okay, devices talking to each other, okay, using internet. Okay, and that's why when we talk about driverless cars, it's about Internet of Things. Okay, where different vehicles will move on road and the vehicles will talk to each other without your knowledge. Vehicles will talk to each other through internet. Everything will be connected through internet, and the vehicle will connect and interact with other vehicles through internet. So here you have sensors which will provide the data, upload the data to a server, and the other machine will read the data from that server. Okay, so that's called Internet of Things, and this is another a big development, and you can see in your your life, around yourself, you will see a lot of things. People using security cameras which are connected to internet, right? Almost everything is now connected to internet, and you can control using your mobile apps, right? So people are now, we are moving ahead and we are connecting everything to internet. Okay, now if you connect to internet, okay, Devices will be able to talk to each other without your knowledge. Let's say your card is connected to internet for somehow, and your Netflix is also connected to internet. So when the amount is due, right, it will be able to read the card, okay, or okay, one device will be able to, let's say, you reach home, okay, the moment you open the main door, it will trigger AC, let's say, okay, or something. So devices talking to devices is what Internet of Things is about. Okay, and then you talk about big data concepts, okay, mining data. Okay, so now the cost of hardware has come down. Data is everywhere. Okay, you capture so much of data. Everything is getting captured, right? Your movement, your all the information. So okay, so they capture so much of information. Every company, right? Whether it's Google or Facebook or Microsoft or Apple. So they all capture so much information, but you need that much of sophisticated software to capture those information or those data, isn't it? You have to store it somewhere. And data is not just in structured format, okay? Structured format means rows and table format. It could be voice, audio, Facebook post, so many things. Okay, so you need a concept, you need something that would help to not only store the data, but also help us to operate on the data. So big data, okay, is a concept which is about handling these big data. Okay, big data means in terms of, so they are big in terms of course the size. Okay, you have GBs of data, and also in terms of the complexity, right? So it is not just text data or or table data. You have videos, audios, and this. So that's why we call them big data. And you capture it, fine, you store it, but you also have to make sense out of it. You will have to perform some kind of analysis on it, right? So what's the point of storing data? Okay, if you're not able to use it, isn't it? So we're talking about using this data. So that's what we call it as big data. So IoT, big data, DevOps, these are the terms that you will hear these days. Second concept which I want to talk about is the shift of approach that we have, right? So shifting of approach from projects to product. Okay. Earlier, focus was on how to complete the project. Okay. I'm given a project, I have to complete it. I'm given a project, I have to complete it, which is fine. Okay. But more than that, okay, it is more about getting the things right overall, right? So okay, so earlier focus was how do I complete the syllabus, right? Again coming back to a training example, better example, but to make some clarity. So it's like I've been given these 10 topics. Okay, how do I complete these 10 topics? Okay, sooner I complete, better it is for me, isn't it? I can I can end it and things like that. But no, the things have changed now. Okay, people don't want short training. They want what's the value that they can get from the training, isn't it? So now we're talking about value. It's end to end. Okay, not just one day or or the project. So the focus has shifted. Okay, as a BA also, now we are thinking in terms of getting end to end correct. Okay, no longer you give me a project, I will do it, and I don't care what happens to the rest, right? So here things have changed. This focus on capabilities, the features. Okay, of course project is important, but probably we have kind of mastered the art of project management. Okay, but we still struggle to find or control the life cycle of a product, right? Many times we start doing it, then we realize down the line that no, this is not possible, this is something which we can't do it, and then you stop there. Okay, that's not what we want, right? So as a BA also, your skill set, okay, and the new term for BAs, okay, you will hear that people don't call BAs, they will call them product management. Okay, so they are called as product managers, not business analysts. So business analysts in new world, they're called as product managers. Okay, their job is to talk about the same job, whatever we've been discussing. Okay, it's the same thing, but the title have got changed because, as the name suggests, you have to think from product perspective, end-to-end product, not just what you want this month or this week. Okay. Then third thing that we want to talk about is called push towards agile and lean practices. Okay. Things have become more competitive. Nobody wants to predict. In fact, even if you look at the CEOs and CFOs, they don't, nobody, or let's say take yourself also, right? Like, the way we started thinking, right, is different. Okay. Our parents, they were slow and they would plan for years. But for us, we don't plan, right? We want everything to be done today or tomorrow, right? Isn't it? And same thing with the business. Okay. Businesses also, if you tell them you do this and you get profit in 3 years, they would not accept. They want to show immediate profit. Okay. People have become more short-term goal-oriented. Okay. And it is okay. So there's nothing wrong about it. Okay. Because if you plan for next 1 year, things can get changed, right? And drastically things are getting changed. So your long-term plan, okay, is anyway not going to happen, because some after 2 years something might happen. You're planning to do something in this locality, but you get a job to new locality and you move there, right? So all the plans that you would do it there is waste, right? Because you move to new. So things have become more faster, and so is the case with business analysts and the business as well. They want to be more agile. They need to be able to switch the approach anytime. Okay, faster, better, right? That's what we're talking about. So here, agile, I just said, right? Agile, we don't focus on the complete delivery. Okay, you identify the requirements, but you identify the few important ones. You identify the few important ones, and then you try to focus on those, the few important ones. Okay, and once you deliver, then again you go back and get the next few, right? So that you are not, okay, we're trying to kind of not take a risk of what's going to happen in future, right? Something where in short term you go deliver, again let's take new things and deliver. So as I said, last statement, we say that many organizations still struggle to understand how BA fits an agile environment. Okay, so again, we have agile topic we'll discuss in detail. So things here is that one major difference is that in the traditional style, okay, and see, to learn BA, we'll follow traditional style, and then we'll say, no, that is not the right approach, this is the right approach, okay? And also traditional way, we are doing one level by level, right, in sequence. So it is much easier to understand and learn, right? And then we will try to customize it for our agile setup. Okay, so in agile, the focus is not on documentation, and we've been talking about the documentation is important. Every stage leads to documentation. Agile says no, let's focus on development of the product. Okay, and then once we are done, then you create the document. In traditional style, we create a document first, and then we will execute as per the document. Here, since it's a shorter duration, right? It's not that you will forget so easily, right? It's a 1 month, 2 month project. So you first get involved in the project, okay? Focus on getting the requirements sooner, faster, getting it implemented. All these things you're responsible. Once it is done, then you have to write the documentation, okay? So, companies are still trying to figure how to work in the agile setup. And again, you have BA certification in agile, project management certifications in agile method. So this has definitely changed the way BA thinks. BA role will evolve. Okay, definitely it's already evolving. And as you said, when you go and search for the role on the internet, okay, you will hear roles about product owner, project manager, product manager. Okay, so these are some of the roles that BA will start getting into. No, it's like trending on new roles. Okay, so with that, we will finish our session on the new developments in IT field. Okay, now what we'll do is we will get into our first phase. What is the first phase? Do you remember?
About
Analyze
leads.
enterprise, right? But uh, we will spend some time on the tools and technique. Okay. Now these tools and so next session 2 is about tools and techniques. Now these tools and techniques is I have captured them and put them all together. Okay, irrespective of different phases. So so my idea is that let's first understand these tools. Okay. After that, we'll get into those each individual phases. So when we get into those individual phases, we will um, we will take those tools and we will fit in there so that you already know what tool is about. So when we talk about the phase, we'll talk about, okay, this tool fits here. This tool is exactly to be used at this session, right? Or this place. So quickly we'll move to the tools. All good here? Any question?
Yeah, all good. So
Awesome. So let's quickly move to the session 2. Okay. Okay. So this is requirements, right? Yes. So can you see this slide and tell me what you noticed? Okay, just read from left to right. Okay, both the rows. And tell me what you understand. When you are done, you let me know.
like everyone has a different understanding of the project requirement and something like that.
Correct. But does it say anything else? Do you notice anything else other than that?
Yeah, the construction part varies from what the customer explained to how the project leader understands. The expectations varies from image to image.
Okay. Anything else you notice?
No, Saurav.
Try. Read again from first to the last picture and let me see.
How the customer explained it. But I know that this is what happens in an IT industry, but with the, I don't know how to put it in words as technical, Saurav.
Sure, no problem. So see, the first thing that you'll notice here is that, as you said, right, everybody has different understanding of the same problem. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, customer has told you this is what I want, but project manager thinks it differently. The analyst, does different work. Programmer has built it differently. Okay, the business consultant and the project documentation, operations, how they install, customer billing, okay, and how it was supported. Okay, so every people, okay, in the chain, okay, here in IT, okay, they are understanding it differently. And even the important thing you see here is that the first and the last picture says the customer really needed. This is what customer really needed. But what customer explained is totally different. Okay, so this is what I've been telling, that even customers doesn't know. They know the problem, they know what is not working, but they don't know the solution. Okay, they don't know the solution. And everybody else, okay, project leader, not that project leader is good for nothing. Okay, they have different jobs. Business analyst has different job. analyst has different job, programmer has different job. You can't expect them to work with the customer and get the requirement. Okay, first of all, customer doesn't know what they want. Okay, second thing is that everybody has their own main priority work. So nobody cares or give importance to what customer has said, and you end up getting totally different output. The solution is that you hire a full-time BA. Okay, so full-time BAs are like somebody who is involved at every stage. So they will work with customer first to make sure that customer needs the product or tells you the product that they really need, not what they want. It's about the need, right? So the most difficult part, as I said, right, is to get that last picture in the first place itself. Okay, customer knows the problem, they know their problem, they don't know this what kind of solution. Okay, if they had known, they would have already implemented it, isn't it? So that's where your role of a BA is crucial in the beginning, where you have to get what customer want in the first place. You'll have to work with customer and make sure that what you see in the last picture is actually understood by the customer, and then they talk about it. Okay, and once they do it, you work with every other person on the project and make sure that they have same understanding. Okay, they have same understanding of the product. Okay, you don't want them to think it differently so that they end up creating different product. No. So first thing is get that last picture in the first place, and also make sure that everybody in the team has same understanding of the product, and that's the role of B. That's as simple as that. Okay, that's your role. Okay, find the solution, describe, find the solution, and make sure that everybody understands the solution and they work towards the single solution. Okay, so what is the requirement? So requirement is defined as a condition or capability needed by a stakeholder to solve a problem or achieve an objective. Condition or capability needed by a stakeholder. Okay, it is a condition or capability needed by a stakeholder. Okay, so when you say condition or capability, it's a new feature, right? It's adding something new to the solution or creating a situation which actually helps the stakeholder to solve a business problem, right? A condition or capability needed by a stakeholder to solve a problem or achieve an objective. A condition or capability that must be met or possessed by a system to satisfy a contract, standard, specification, or other formal imposed document. So first thing is either one or two. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so either new feature or creating a new situation, or even adding a new contract or standard or say specification. So basically you're trying to define a solution, right? Whatever you say, whether it's a condition or capability or anything like that, you're trying to implement, okay, new feature, you're trying to implement, okay, new capability to your solution so that they're able to deliver what they want, right? Okay, so okay, now what are different types of requirement? We have mainly three types of requirement. Okay, first is called business requirement. Okay, this is what you will get it from the stakeholders. What is the business requirement? Okay, what capabilities business want? So now when business wants some capabilities, let's say you are delivering a clinic management software. So you're trying to build a clinic management software. Okay, so let's say I'm just talk about a couple of basic, there are multiple requirements, right? Let's say you want to add new patient, okay, or edit the existing patient. If already patient is there, you're trying to edit the existing patient, or you're trying to add a new patient. Okay, that's your main goal. Okay, so that's the requirement from the business. I should be able to add new patient or edit old patient. Okay, so high level statements of or goals, objectives, or the need of the enterprise. Second is called user requirement. Okay, so it is the statement of needs of particular stakeholder or class of stakeholders. So see, this is from business perspective. Okay, business should need this capability, but people who are working on it, right? If you talk about this adding or editing a patient, who will work on it? So say receptionist will work on it. So what capabilities the receptionist need? The receptionist need a software where he or she will be able to update it. Okay, so so business requirement has got now converted into user requirement. From the user is going to use that requirement. Okay, so the third level is the system requirement. Okay, so so business needs it, so user has to have this. So for that user to have that, what changes should you make in the system? Okay, so it says describe the behavior of the system, of the IT system, information that solution will manage. So it starts with business and it ends with system requirement. Each of these requirements have to be connected. Okay, so when you design a system requirement, they can ask you, why did you add this? They will say that I added this because this is what the user had said. Why did the user say this? Because this is the business requirement. This is how the business wants. So you're able to link from back to from forward to backward, right? At the same time, they'll ask, what does business requirement say? Business requirement says A. Okay, so what is the user requirement which is going to which is going to address this business requirement, right? So from backward, you're asking why. From forward, you're asking how. How will you have it? How will you implement it? How will you implement it? How will you implement it? And you will start from business requirement and you will end with system requirement. So it's called traceability. Every requirement, okay, you're talking about will have business requirement or user requirement or system requirement. They have to be linked. Okay.
But business requirement is like almost same like user requirements.
No, I told you, right? Business requirement is like capabilities. Okay, I need the capability to add new patient. Okay, how it is added, we are not talking about. Then user will say, receptionist will say, okay, when I log in using receptionist, I should be able to add a new patient. Okay, then user's system will say, okay, I need to add a form where the receptionist will be able to add the information and click on save. So when clicked on save, it will implement or it will add to the database. Right? So they are all linked. Okay, you cannot have a user requirement without business requirement. You cannot have a system requirement without user requirement, right? But they are not same. They are similar. Okay, they are derived from each other, but they are not exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now IIBA. Okay. The one that we use it. The one that generally we follow has talked about 6 types of requirement. So business and user requirements are same. Okay, you see, business requirement number 1 is same as what we discussed. User requirement is what we discussed. System requirements actually is broken down into 4 requirements. So functional, quality of service, assumptions, and implementation, they belong to system requirement itself. Okay. So when you talk about software system, okay, you will notice some functionalities, the features. Okay. And then you have something called as non-functional or quality of service. You say that the website is slow. this website is so difficult to use. I don't understand what to do, right? When I click on save, it says saved, but it's not saved. These are nothing but about the quality of the software talking about, not about the feature. It has the feature, everything is working fine, but it is slow. Okay, it is probably not doing what you want. So those are about the quality, right? So again, training bad example, but let's say if I tell you wrong concept, okay, then it's a functional requirement problem. I don't know the subject and I'm teaching you. So that's the functional problem, that the purpose for which you have it is not being met. Quality of service is, maybe you're not able to understand what I'm saying, or the internet is bad, or Zoom is not working, right? So these are nothing but about the quality of service. Nothing to do with my knowledge, nothing to do with the BA topic, but you are not able to understand the way, but because of whatever reason, right? Because of me or system or people or whatever, you are not able to understand. So here we're talking about the quality of service. Okay, so quality of service is also called as non-functional requirement. Okay, functional requirement, non-functional requirement, assumptions and constraints. Assumption constraint is again about the assumptions that we make. Okay, we will say that people with minimum this level of requirement will use your software. Fine. So in that case, you don't have to develop that software for everyone. So you say that, okay, this kind of people will use. So when you design the software, you will use it for that kind of people. Okay, I'll just give you an example. We'll talk about Amazon, right? Website. Now, Amazon thinks that it has to make software catchy to everyone, right? They're trying to make everyone happy with the software. So companies that talk about it, okay, will have different approach, isn't it? Okay, so they will probably make it more easy to use UI or the website. But let's say if you're designing software for software engineers only, right? You know that the software that you're going to design will be used by software engineers, not by anybody else. So that's the assumptions you're making. Your final output will definitely change based on the assumptions you make. You can make assumptions in any way. Okay. The assumptions is you're fixing some conditions, some criteria before executing it. And finally, sixth is called implementation requirement. Okay. So as per BA policy or the best practices, you should not be talking about the implementation part to the customer as a BA. You will not say you want Oracle database or SQL Server database. Should I do user technology A or technology B? Okay, so as a BA, you have to be technology agnostic. Okay, you have to respect all the technology and you will respond in that way. Okay, but implementation is a new game, right? So if customer says I want it to be implemented on Oracle platform, now you cannot promise that, even though that it is possible, but you should not promise this because some new technology has come, or maybe something new has come where we were not going to use the same old concept. So implementation requirement is from implementation perspective, and best practice is that you should not take or any condition for implementation. Implementation is a job of the technical experts, and customers should not dictate about technology. Okay, but there's some times where customer will say, see, we have got only Oracle developers, so if you give me some other database, then we may not be able to use it, right? So please give us Oracle platform only, so which is a valid comment, right? Or request from customer. So you cannot promise to say, okay, I will make a note, okay, if possible, use Oracle platform. Okay, so that's a valid judgment. You will take it, you will note it down, but you will not promise them. Okay, that's called implementation requirement. Technically, in ideal scenarios, there should not be anything under this. It should be blank. Yes, so these are 6 types of requirements, and we are going to talk about these 6 types of requirements, okay, in future classes. Okay, so before that, let's understand what is a requirement. Okay, requirements are the answers to the question like what will this project change that is required in order to deliver the objectives. Okay, change can be create, update, or delete or something. Okay, and focus is on what will change, not how will it change. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll stop here. Okay, tomorrow we'll focus on the requirements. We'll try to understand what requirements mean and how, how we can use it. Okay, so first thing is we have to understand the requirement.
Okay.
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 Right. Okay, we'll stop here for today. Okay. Tomorrow we'll continue on what requirements are. Okay. I will talk about both functional and non-functional requirement.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Take care then. Bye.
Bye bye.